I need healing!
Here to steal me! I need a...
Aid me!
Protect our quarry! I told you this would never work.
Scheming fetcher! I'll kill you!
I told Glurot that setting up a house near a Nord barrow would be trouble. Another outsider? At least you look more capable than that braggart, Narcissus Dren. Not anymore. The Dark Elf said he could help us with our Draugr problem and headed up to the barrow. I probably shouldn't have let him go, but he seemed confident and said he was an expert in everything. The damned Nords won't stay dead. They keep wandering out of the barrow, and that's just not right. We have no problem dealing with any Draugr that get close to the village, but we won't enter a Nord barrow. I just hope the Dark Elf is all right. You'll check on Narcissus Dren? Thank you. My clan has an aversion to disturbing the dead, especially the dead of different races. The barrow's at the top of the hill. The Dark Elf said he'd send word, but we haven't heard anything since he left. We didn't want anything to do with the drama surrounding Orsinium, so Glurot gathered us up and moved us out here. We just want to be left alone to hunt and herd in peace. Glurot is our chief, and he's a perfectly fine leader. As his hunt wife, I help him as best as I can. He's brave and strong, but sometimes he just lets his mind wander. That's why he likes it way out here. Says he can finally hear himself think. He showed up a few days ago, all proud and preening. For a puny Dark Elf, he sure made a lot of noise. From what he told us, he's some kind of famous treasure hunter, but I never heard of him before he introduced himself. Treasure hunter, dungeon delver, and heroic adventurer. At least that's what it said on the book he showed me. I thought something was off, but now that he's disappeared, I'm pretty sure he's more air than substance. He walked into the village shortly after the first Draugr was spotted and asked if we were having a problem with the barrow. He offered to take care of it for us, and we readily accepted. Now that I think about it, it all seems pretty convenient. I don't really know that much about the place. We have a strict rule about not disturbing the resting places of the dead. It's an old Nord barrow at the top of the hill. That's where the Dark Elf went, and we haven't seen him since. I'm the hunt wife. I can see blood ticks on a horker at 50 paces, so it was simple enough to track the Draugr back to their lair. We can handle a walking corpse or two, but something must have disturbed the barrow to make them so agitated.
I told Chief Glurot that this was a cursed location, but he wouldn't listen. No one ever listens to old Shab. What else would you call it? We're so close to Exile's barrow that we woke up the dead. And let me tell you, there's nothing worse than waking up dead Nords. Nords get even more irritable after they're dead. Some exiled Nords came to our land centuries ago and built the barrow to honor their powerful Skald King. Or was he a conquering warlord? A renegade necromancer? I never remember that part. Anyway, whoever he was, they buried him in the barrow. This is the only one as far as I know. The place has always been forbidden, and most orcs prefer to avoid tombs full of dead bodies anyway. I contend that our proximity to the barrow agitated the Nords and woke them up. That's the only explanation.
My stupid son. I can't believe he went off to follow in his father's footsteps. The idiot. My son? What do you know about my son? You know Miriam and that nice Varden? What a lovely couple. But you must tell me, were they able to find my son? Dead? No, that isn't possible. Nothing in the Sanctum should have been able to harm Korazoth. I don't understand. Well, I suppose there's no point in keeping it a secret. If Korazoth is dead, then the same must be true of Thukazad. The necromancer was my husband, and Korazoth's father. Only as immortal as the next descendant to step forward and claim the title. I knew that man would bring nothing but trouble to our family. Please, I thank you for bringing me this news, but now I need to be alone. No! I don't want that foul thing. I want to remember Korazoth as my son, not as Thukazad's legacy. I should never have let him read his father's letter. You keep the amulet, as a thank you for letting me know what happened to my son.
Mosgroth warned everyone to stay in the village. Something about wandering dead people. Me, I'm not afraid of dead people. Are you talking about the fish, or do you mean my husband? I saw a mud crab grasp a crane by the neck. The crane soared into the sky. The mud crab spun around its neck like a loose bangle, which made the crane twist and swoop through the air. The mud crab finally had enough. It did what every mud crab does. It pinched as hard as it could. Pop went the crane's head. Squirt went the blood from the crane's neck. Tumble went the mud crab. Just as the crane body, mud crab, and decapitated crane head were about to hit the water, the biggest slaughterfish I ever saw leaped out and swallowed them whole. Whoosh, gulp, swoosh. Gone in an instant. I laughed so hard I dropped my pole. Very big. I remember thinking, who taught an achater to swim? One day, I'll catch that fish and turn it into crab slaughter crane stew. It'll be delicious. Too bad I'll have to share it with my idiot husband. I saw it when the sun was setting, so I'd say you'd want to fish for it at night. And with a fish that big, you'd want a couple friends helping out. How else would you manage to reel it in? Chief Glurot. Have you met him? When Glurot decided to take over as chief of the clan, he saw me fishing and proclaimed that he needed a fish wife. And no jokes, I made them already. He says he's thinking, but I call it lazy. Hasn't done a lick of work since he moved us out here. But he's good to the old chief, I'll give him that much. He's the chief! Besides, he knows I can gut him if he gives me any grief. In the meantime, I keep fishing.
This land rises fierce and sharp, swept cold by a fierce wind. It reminds me of the desert at night back home.
Another ancient barrow. Another 2.5 gold pieces from my employer, Narcissus Dren. But you don't want to listen to my problems. Have a nice day. You mean you've never heard of the great Narcissus Dren? Whatever you do, don't let him know that. According to his biography, he's the world's greatest treasure hunter, dungeon delver, and adventurer. And he certainly loves the sound of his own voice. The Eight forbid that such words ever leave my mouth. I don't mean to imply that Narcissus Dren isn't good at what he does. I just mean that he's an arrogant, self-important, pretentious little skeever with delusions of grandeur. No, I should be the one apologizing. It's just that I had such high hopes when I was selected to be an apprentice to the famous Narcissus Dren. I read all of his books. They inspired me to become a scholar. I just wish he'd really let me help him. Oh, I'm here with Narcissus Dren. He has a knack for uncovering ancient sites and old tombs. That's a big part of why he's so good at what he does. We arrived a few days ago, and Dren immediately set out to explore the place, while I wait out here. Narcissus goes wherever the call of adventure takes him, and until now I've followed along obediently. But I think it's time to rethink my chosen profession. If only I could use my talents as a researcher to do something important for a change. Are the orcs having a problem with Wrothgar? I must admit that I haven't visited the villages yet. Now that I think about it, Narcissus did run out of the barrow yesterday and head down the road. Then he ran back inside without saying a word. Well, it wouldn't surprise me. He can be very agitating. But whatever's going on in there, I'm sure that Narcissus Dren has the situation well in hand.
You're looking for Master Dren? Oh, that is kind of you. I really can't abide spiders. I have a condition, I think. The barrow's entrance is over there. Master Dren said he would be right back, but he's been gone so long. It's not like him to miss dinner. Well, I have not actually visited the place, but it looks kind of small. Not a proper orc stronghold at all, if you ask my opinion. But I met Masgroth, the huntwife. She's always wandering about and checking on things that might threaten the village. Oh, Master Dren is always helping somebody. It's what he does, don't you know? Told Masgroth he would take care of the Wrothgar dilemma and charged right into that barrow over there. I wish I was half the adventurer that Narcissus Dren is. You have never heard of Narcissus Dren? What rock have you been living under? He is the greatest treasure hunter, dungeon delver, and heroic adventurer ever to walk the land. And the books he writes are real page-turners. It is my honor to serve him. He's got a sense about such things, that's for sure. We came to explore the barrow, but when Master Dren noticed the Wrothgar, he readily offered his services to Masgroth and the Orc village. He is a genuine hero, if you ask me. Master Dren couldn't wait to explore the place. The locals call it Exile's Barrow, though no one's quite sure who the exile is. We do know that it is old, it's gnawed, and that the orcs refuse to go near it. That means it probably has not been looted. That's where the Wrothgar are, so that's where his braveness went. He's not afraid of spiders, not him. Masgroth and the orcs can handle a few walking corpses, but an entire barrow? Something must have disturbed their rest to cause this much trouble.
Oh, that was unexpected. Never had a lid get stuck like that while I was, investigating. Ah, it's a good thing you happened by. And in an old barrow, no less. But tell me, are you a simple admirer or a true devotee of my work? How wonderful for you, for you have found him. So tell me, do you want me to sign one of my books, or have you come to watch a real adventurer at work? Why wouldn't I be all right? I am the great Narcissus Dren, after all. Still, I'm always willing to show a novice adventurer the ropes. Forward, my friend, and together we will deal with the Draugr of this barrow. After you. A plan? Narcissus Dren always has a plan. Haven't you read my books? Of course, it's a work in progress. I'm sure it involves locating the main burial chamber and finding a switch or lever. In my experience, it's always a switch or lever. Now, onward! Aim for the knee! Aim for the knee! What a spacious chamber! It's most likely the primary tomb's antechamber. Look at those pillars! This barrow is definitely from an earlier period than the ones I've explored in Skyrim. Ooh, that large door must lead to the main burial chamber. I am, after all, quite familiar with this sort of thing. The carving on this pillar, I think it's some sort of switch. How exciting! I wonder what happens if I press it. Well, that's strange. Usually when I press something, something happens. Ah, this panel is broken. That must be the key. Yes, I'm sure it is. A number of these carvings are broken. Yes. I see what we must do. I think... Yes, I'm sure it is. This must be the primary tomb's antechamber. Look at that artwork. Definitely from the Nordneo Strife period. If this place follows the usual construction, the main burial chamber is right behind that door. It's what we in the adventuring trade call a puzzle lock. When we solve the puzzle, the door unlocks. But look, 3 of the stone panels are broken. We need to find the missing chunks before we can solve the puzzle and open the tomb. Need to work on your flourish when you deliver the opening whack. Take whatever you want, but don't ask me to carry anything. Mind me. I'll just go and examine that panel. Well, isn't this intriguing? Look at the attention to detail, the complex composition. I can tell that a dedicated artist created this work. Isn't it obvious? The dragon and the dragon priest destroyed a mountain. But from this angle, it looks more like they're building or restoring something. The imagery of the Neo-Strife period can be very confusing to the untrained eye. Let's not leap to conclusions. Interpreting ancient carvings requires training and experience. A squiggle here or a line placed there can change the entire meaning. Let's look around. There might be a broken panel piece nearby. The broken pieces for the 3 panels must be around here somewhere. Let's explore the eastern and southern portions of the barrow and see if we can find them. Let me see. Well, it's certainly ancient, but it's hardly interesting. Good for scholars, perhaps, but not adventurers such as you and I. My assistant Berries is a stickler for details and historical accuracy. She loves dull things like that. I think you have this well in hand, so I'll stand back and give you room to work. Another Nord carving! I must get closer and examine it. I'm going to be the envy of Nord scholars everywhere. These carved images are simply remarkable. Something praying? Some grand ceremony. Clearly that's the dragon priest. Something ascension, I think. Oh, how little you know me! The dragon died, the priest killed himself, and his followers sealed themselves in this barrow, making the whole place disappear into the mists of time. Ta-da! Now, let's find the missing puzzle pieces and finish this. That a good stab in the heart usually does the trick. I'll protect your rear quarter. Never fear. Show those monsters what for! Ancient artwork, just like in the antechamber. Oh, how exciting! Oh, isn't it remarkable? I love finding this kind of stuff. This kind of sculpture is called a relief. Look how the images seem to rise out of the very stone. I think it's meant to tell some sort of story. Now, this is purely conjecture on my part, but if I interpret the image correctly, it depicts the Narcissus Dren of his day. Look at how his admirers worship him. Either that or it's a dragon priest celebrating some sort of triumph or victory. In days of old, the dragons ruled the world through their powerful servants, the dragon priests. Now that I think about it, this could depict the time of the Dragon War. Let's find more of these remarkable images and see what else they can tell us. Deal with any ruffians, if you would. I see more artwork to examine. I must determine how to safely remove one of these wonderful depictions. This appears to show the dragon priest, and their followers going on some sort of trip. Perhaps it was a quest, or a pleasurable excursion into the countryside. I'm not sure. They do seem a bit grim. Good suggestion, but it's difficult to know for certain. To convey complex ideas such as an exodus with a single image is harder than you think. Let's look around. We might find one of the missing pieces for the tomb lock around here. Back to the tomb door! That puzzle lock is as good as solved! Well done! You're turning out to be one of the best assistants I've ever had. Now, press the panels in the proper sequence. did it! This way! Oh, you really do have a knack for adventuring. Are you ready to look upon the grandeur of a dragon priest's tomb? Could be anything. This is why we travel, why we face the dangers. We want to see the sights that those possessed of a more timid nature can only dream of. You go first. I wouldn't want to deprive you of the experience. Narcissus Dren has explored many a barrow. For example, there's usually a treasure vault next to the dragon priest's tomb. There might even be a guardian, but I'm sure the dragon priest is long gone. Well, yes, of course we are. I'm sure something inside the tomb holds the key to solving this dilemma, and hopefully it also holds the key to the treasure vault as well. Now, onward, my stalwart assistant! Onward! Look at this place! Amazing! Simply amazing! Good work with the Dragon Priest. Now, let me just... Oh, keys! I knew it! The treasure vault awaits! Hear the locks turning. Come on. Turning. Come on. I knew there was a vault in this barrow. Look at all these treasures. I'm beside myself with elation. It must be around here somewhere. Come to Narcissus Dren, you ancient beauty. This will increase my reputation 1,000-fold. Well, this has been a most profitable, exciting adventure. You did quite well, my able assistant. Oh, that was exhilarating! I'd say we're done here. Another profitable adventure for the famous Narcissus Dren. But it's a dragon priest mask, an early one no less. It will be a crowning glory in my vast collection. Besides, Narcissus Dren does not loot. He searches, he explores, he entertains, and I couldn't have done it without your help. A fraud? What a hurtful thing to say, and it wasn't my... Oh, all right. Perhaps my initial investigation caused a bit of a problem, but now that the Dragon Priest has been vanquished, the problem will take care of itself. All's well that ends well. tell the villagers? Certainly. They'll want to hear all about how Narcissus Dren saved the day.
I'm better at research than actual field work. I heard they're establishing a museum in Orsinium. Perhaps I'll go work there. I know they'll appreciate my skills more than Dren ever did. Ancient texts and relic, mostly. I'm apprenticed to the famous treasure hunter Narcissus Dren, but he treats me more like a glorified scribe than a partner. So, while he's inside exploring the barrow, I'm out here, waiting to transcribe his notes. As a matter of fact, I've had it up to here with Dren. I've decided to strike out on my own. With items such as these, I can do some real research. Visit me in the museum in Orsinium. If these possess any historical value, I'll pay a finder's fee. Tell Narcissus I quit. So long, Borfrey!
A horde of vicious Draugr stood between me and the central tomb. With lightning reflexes, I flung a pair of daggers, dropping two of the foul creatures. Ah, here comes my able apprentice, who distracted the third Draugr while I solved the tricky puzzle lock. Have no fear. I'll continue my tale momentarily. I need to speak to my apprentice. Oh, we did good work today, my friend. You should be proud. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to finish my tale and then accept compensation from my adoring public. Every story needs a little embellishment. Surely you've read my books. I know how to hold an audience's attention. The Draugr dilemma. That was an unfortunate accident, but I acquired a rare dragon priest mask, and the Draugr have begun returning to their slumber, all thanks to my efforts. And with your help, of course. Very well, if you insist. I'll speak to Mosgroth. But don't think this makes you better than me, do-gooder. I knew you weren't cut out for adventuring the moment I saw you. And you know this means I won't be mentioning you in my next book. My good woman, I can't in good conscience take gold from your clan. What I found in the barrow more than compensates me for my time.
It seems that the famous adventurer found something worthwhile in the barrow. He even waived his fee for helping us. We're not so proud that we'd turn down gold, but this isn't my first hunt. I know the Dark Elf's not doing this out of the goodness of his heart. It's only fair that you share in our profit.
Sorry, grandfather. My grandfather's cairn. He wanted it out in the field. Open to the sky. He loved this land. Wish his helm had been recovered. Feels incomplete.
It's a custom to place the arms and armor on a fallen warrior's cairn. Grandfather fell nearby. Managed to retrieve his body, but saw an ogre with his helm. Want to go back for it, but it's a big ogre. In Morkel descent, not too far. Saw it on the big one with the most dung smeared on him. Might be the chief. Grandfather used to stamp his name on his armor. Should say Korgrak inside.
Harpies pick at your bones, blasphemous! Fire, vines, and blood. I shall consecrate your corpses. I become something greater. You fools, take no pleasure in my ascendance.